Hi, I'm Dale Krevens from Tech 21, the Vice President of the company, and 2019 marks our 30th anniversary. Here's my guitar collection, which is kind of interesting because I don't actually play guitar. But I do love them because I consider them artwork. And I originally had these at home, but I brought them into the office so I can look at them every day. You know, this is I forget who the guy who built it, but this is a very interesting piece because he would take guitars and just cover them with all kinds of crazy stuff. And I love the steampunk feel. And it's a little disco-ish because there's some sparkles on it. And then this is my child, Abby. This is a ghost Abby made. She's little. I think every kid made these things. I can't get rid. You know, you can't throw this stuff out. Been in this office since 2002, so you do tend to collect a lot of stuff over the years. So more than 30 years ago, Andrew Barta had an idea about a different way to record his guitar, because he used to spend hours and hours in a recording studio with tube amplifiers, which are very temperamental, and you never know how they're going to sound from 1 hour to the next. And he just was tired of spending so much time setting up and not very much time recording. So he said there has to be a better way, and this is a classic case of necessity is the mother of invention.
I set out to create a product that doesn't break, it doesn't need setup, and you can record really quickly.
And then he finally came up with this little black box. We came up with a name for the box, because I said that's the first thing we need is a name for the box. One day Sans amp just popped into my head because it's an amp, but it wasn't, and you could record guitar. So I said amp has to be in the name, and so I don't know, Sans amp just popped into my head, and I waited a few days, told Andrew, and he really liked it.
The word quickly spread, and there was a need for this. So I made a couple and went down to 48th Street and talked to Sam Ash, and he said, like, why don't you guys sell this? And they were like, who is this guy?
And Sam Ash put it in the window, and literally within a couple of hours, Phil Collin from Def Leppard came in and bought one. And then gradually, you know, over the next few days, they were all gone.
And then they said, okay, we'll buy 5 more. And I made the 5 more. And then that one turned into 10 more and so on. We ended up selling it to Kurt Cobain, who ended up, I think, had 6 of them. I don't know what he did to it, but he was really able to destroy it. He was one of the very few ones who destroyed it.
I kind of came to help out, but I couldn't leave, and it was just, I saw too much potential for this to become a real company and a real business and to really make a big impact on the world. I think, you know, the reason we have so much longevity is because it's all analog. That's the key to why people like it so much.
We feel that the analog still has a lot to offer, and that's our specialty. So this is one of the very first pedal I built, and this one is the pedal that started the whole direct recording revolution, and then later on the digital things came on, but this was the basic product. I built the first one around 87, 88, and I made a business out of it around 89.
This was our very, very first ad, and this is actually Andrew's hand, and he somehow took the picture himself, and I think it was probably the first selfie ever. And I honestly, you know, in the early days, I wasn't sure we were going to keep going. I thought, you know, the company would be around for a few years, but then Andrew came up with other ideas, new products, and there was a constant stream of new things. And then in 1996, we came out with our first amplifier, the Trademark 60. And much to my surprise, it was widely accepted and everybody loved it, and we sold a lot of them. Les Paul loved the Trademark amp, and he used it every Monday night at the Iridium in New York City. He even used it at his 90th birthday at Carnegie Hall. So, you know, it was very humbling to have Les Paul up on the stage in Carnegie Hall with a trademark amp from Tech 21. Most recently, you know, working with Richie Kotzen has been a wonderful experience. We also have a signature piece for Geddy Lee, the Sans Amp GED 2112. And then we also are working with Doug Pinnick from King's X, and we have a signature piece for him. It's called the DP3X. That's been an incredible experience. Tech 21 is actually a small company, and we are very much like a family here. We all get along, we eat together, and everything is hand-built in this building. And nothing is automated. There are no conveyor belts. Everything is built and shipped from this location.
I have studio monitors here. I have an oscilloscope. I have a millivoltmeter, a signal generator. I have some FFT, that's like a frequency analyzer on the computer, a nice converter here from Lexicon. Also, I have a collection of amps, so I can listen to the pedals through different amps, and I can crank it up. This is the great thing about here, that sometimes I have like the bass amp, 1,000-watt bass amp for Doug Pinnick. He actually came here too when we tested it, and we cranked it up all the way, and the ceiling started to like melt, you know, like we had flakes coming down, you know. It got into my eye and everything, but we could play it full volume, so it was great. Try the reverb. So my father told me that you have to learn a profession if you want to keep playing music. So I was thinking, like, let me think, what's the closest profession to music if you cannot be just a musician? And I was like, electronics, you know, because I was always fascinated with electronics. So I went to school in Hungary, and I was really lucky because at the time, Hungary was behind the Iron Curtain. So our technology was about 20, 30 years behind technology in the West. So we were still dealing with tubes. And it came really handy later on. I had some problems with being a musician. Back then, they didn't allow you to do that. You had to have like a real job. And I had long hair, so the police used to stop me on the street. Actually, the secret police followed me for a couple of weeks because I had a friend who had some political issues, and so it was not too pleasant, and I decided to leave the country. And I went to Germany. I joined a band there, and I stayed there for about a year. I asked for a visa to the United States as like an immigrant, which I got, but it took like about a year, several interviews, and I came here and never looked back. So it's going to be 30 years. It's a pretty amazing time. We met so many great musicians and great people, and we're just loving doing it. Thank you. Next 30 years.